So, hello and welcome to lesson two. Lesson two, what we're going to be working is angles. Angles. First, I'm going to explain a little bit about the stance. When you're using angles, you're using triangles. So, I'm going to back up a little bit and explain the triangle and the stance. So, of course, your stance can have a triangle, whether it's horizontal. From the front or from the back. We're using our horizontal triangle here. Let's see if it's gonna, obviously, so your base is wider, right? You have a triangle here. And that's your vertical triangle. You also have a horizontal triangle. When you guard, it's not quite so obvious. Here I'm doing it really, really obvious. But it's gonna be shorter. It looks different whether you're doing a long, have your arms out longer, then it's a little bit more obvious of a triangle. You punch in the triangle as well. When you have your guard closer to your face, it's going to be harder to see, of course, but it's still a triangle. So we want to keep that same concept here with triangle. And the feet also make a slight triangle, and that you're not going to have your toes pointed out. They're going to be pointed slightly in. But we'll go over that as we go as to why. We'll explain that later. So here we're pivoting off our back leg. The first angle is pivoting off the back leg. This is a big angle here, a big exaggerated angle. We're going to shorten it up later, but first we're going to practice big here. So as you see, we're just kind of doing the four directions. Go clockwise or counterclockwise. And of course, we're pivoting our back foot a little bit. You don't want to get your foot stuck there, right? Of course. We're kind of pivoting off your back foot. So the front foot's moving a lot. The back foot's it's all pivoting off the back foot. This you would kind of use, it won't look exactly like this, but if somebody was circling you, so you got a boxer circling around you doing like the ollie type thing, then you want to stay in the middle of the ring and circle. When you're actually using it, instead of doing a big circle like that, if you're using it and someone's right in front of you, the front foot's only going to move a little bit, and it's going to kind of move in an arc, like a compass. If the front foot was where the pencil is, right? Kind of goes in an arc. It's not exactly symmetrical because it goes a little longer and like into a longer stance. When you're going, how would you say it, to your like the closed stance, where you would do into the opponent, where you're doing your jab. And then when you're stepping out for your right hand, it circles back a little bit shorter. You can see that though. So as you see, it's not a really big step here. I was doing the same thing here, but instead of walking around all four directions, I'm doing it's a slight angle in front of me. So as you can see, just try to follow along with that. Where you step forward and jab, step to the side, throw a right. With these, we're doing the combos here. The combos are a little bit more abstract, I guess you could say, when you're practicing this here. So you can jab off of any step, but anytime you step off to your left, it pulls the right hand out, as you see. And as when you come back in, you can throw a left hook off of that. So you want to work on that for a while. And really the main thing is don't focus on the upper body, focus on the lower body. Focus on pivoting, and you kind of turn your, see that? You're going to kind of pivot there. Work on just that on the foot. And then the hands are just going to kind of follow along afterwards. So very, very loose, very loose. Don't be too mechanical with the hands. As you see, I can just kind of throwing them out there. The main thing to focus on is the feet here. That you kind of turn the center there, kind of like if you have a medicine ball in your center, right? Where your dandian is, your lower back and between your lower back and belly button, right? So you're doing that little bit of a step. See, it's really small, but it's just enough to make the turn a lot more easier and more natural. When you're doing this, think a little more defense, and then the hands will follow along afterwards. See, as you can see, you're doing your basic slip, kind of Mostly defense for ones and twos, and then, like I said, you're just gonna let the hands kind of do what they do. Just kind of let them flow by themselves. Here we're gonna do the opposite. Um, Now here we're pivoting off the front foot, right? So the back foot's moving, but you're pivoting off the front foot, right? And I'm gonna do the four corners as well. So you're going that four corners, but all the front foot. Here is where you're gonna want to. We'll go back to the triangle step in the feet. You don't want to end up with your foot out at a funny angle. You see that? You don't want your foot at that angle. It's bad for your knee, and obviously someone will, if you're in a fight, someone's going to kick your leg out can kick your leg really bad out from under you if your toes pointed out like that. So as you see, pointing the toe in kind of pigeon-toed, here we're showing the idea of what you're doing is kind of like a matador, right? So you're showing them the target, getting the foot out the way, getting your body out the way. See that? See, move, pivot out, pivot out. We're all going the same direction here. All these are the same direction. Now you're gonna go the other way. And the way you're gonna use this is one way to use it on defense is if someone's rushing at you, so you don't reach at them. You wait till they get close, and you kind of redirect that. That hand's going right in back of where their elbow would be. So you're kind of directing them. You move the elbow a little, then you turn yourself out the way. See that? Same thing this direction. You don't reach. They get in close. You touch the elbow. Doesn't necessarily have to be the elbow, but the elbow is what you're trying to control. Whatever you touch, you're still controlling the elbow for the most part. So, see that? You touch, move out the way. Touch, move out the way. Remember, you're using the idea is like a matador. So you're letting it's like the bull almost gets you, but then you pivot out right at the last minute, right? Now here what I'm doing is, when you use the move, once again, you're turning from the center. Now you see how I just turned? Now I'm gonna turn, but keep going. Or rather, I stepped, did the angle. Now, instead of just stopping there with the angle, you step, now keep going. See that? The difference is, instead of just going to there, you keep turning. So you go to the corner, keep turning. The waist just keeps on going the direction it was already going. See that? So the opponent comes at you, pivot out, throw. You pivot out, keep turning, throw. See, as you keep turning the waist, there's that's what winds up for the punch. See that? And then of course you come back, it's not so much the arm throwing it, but rather the hip. And see, instead of having to turn the foot over, if you already have the foot kind of pigeon-toed, the toe pointed in, the hip's already pointed that direction, so it's much easier to throw the hook. Now we're going the other way. See that? Pivoting back to the back leg, where you shift your weight slightly back, but now you keep going. See that? So instead of just stopping there, you keep turning and throw. Pivot out, keep turning, step and throw. And when you keep turning, it causes you to shift your weight back. See that? So when you're turning the other direction, you kind of corkscrew into the front leg. Here, you're kind of corkscrewing into the back leg. And as you do that, the waist winds up, the back leg kind of springs, and then you let the punch go. See that? So step back, wind up, throw. And here we're gonna do your angle. I'm gonna do our combo here. Our combo is going to be, we're going, let's see here. Let's see which direction. It depends on which direction. So if we're going to the front leg, it's going to be 13, 13, 12, 13. Accidentally threw straight right there, but we're going to go uppers. So left, left, right, left, Well, actually, instead of the uppers here, we're just doing over the top. Sorry. So it's 3, 3, 2, 3. So you roll forward to the front leg. 3, 3, 2, 3. You notice the first one, it's a very short punch because you're doubling it up. So you go 3, 3, 2, 3. But on the first 3, it's really short. You throw it, and by the time you land, you're already winding up for another one. On the second one, obviously, you just let your body turn. So 3, 3, 2, 3. Wind up. 3, 3, 2, 3. And if we're going the other direction, we're rocking back to the back leg. So you're gonna roll back, or rather angle back, spring up the back leg, and 2. First we'll start with a 2. So once again, wind up the back leg, go your 2, 3, 2. So pivot, sit back, 2, 3, and 2. Pivot, sit back, 2, 3, 2. Pivot, sit back, 2, 3, and 2. So remember, like a matador. I'm not a fan of matadors, but hey, it's the best best example I can give. So rock back, 2, 3, 2. So as you rock back, you can see we're talking about the controlling the elbow. That front arm could be controlling the elbow as you pivot back. All right. So you can also mix it up. So you go one way then the other, right? So if you want to kind of freestyle it, not mixing up body shots or 2s and 3s, mostly 2s and 3s. But see that? This is just playing around with the steps. Pivoting one way, then pivoting the other way. Pivot to the front, and pivot to the back. There you go. So you can see the different angles here.